So let's talk about the Corporate Transparency Act. It is an act that is required for owners of certain businesses to file with the federal government through FinCEN who the beneficial owners or controlling people of a company are. FinCEN is a federal agency that really monitors money transfers. They're mostly concerned about drug laundering, illegal money laundering, and illegal activities like that. So that's the purpose of the act, is to be able to understand, because for those of you who do open businesses, understand, especially in New Mexico, there is a way to file for an LLC in which, to the outside public's eye, they have no idea who the owners or the parties are behind that company. And really, it can be quite secretive, especially if you have LLCs stacked on each other, which are perfectly legal. You know, if you have a holding company and other companies below it, you may have a LLC owned by an LLC owned by a trust, all perfectly having legal explanations. But it also, by some people, it has been exploited to try to hide who the owners are of a company. The regulation does say that if you are an existing LLC or company that falls in the category that has to file, you have, if you existed before January 1st, you have until December 31st of this year to file. But if you are a new company this year that's required to file, if you form this year, like if you form an LLC this month, you have 90 days to file. And if you fail to do so, you are subject to some pretty substantial penalties by the federal government. It's starting in 2025, that gets shortened to 30 days. There are 23 exemptions to people who have to file, but they fall in the arena of nonprofits, government entities, banking, financial institutions who are already registered with FinCEN. But if you're a small mom and pop operation, or if you have some real estate, you will have to file if you have 25% ownership or more, or you have control of the company. So you can't get away with putting it down to 24%, but you control the company, you'll still have to file.
The vast majority of the clients we work with are going to be sole owner operators of an S corp, whether it's a dental practice, medical practice, a small construction practice, and then with their spouse, they may own the real estate in a separate LLC. Those folks will likely be 100% required to file the reports.
Some people have what I call shelf LLCs, these no asset LLCs that they have at the ready, or it used to have an asset, but they sold the asset, but they're keeping it alive for purposes of future business activity.
Yeah.
And it is okay to keep it, and you won't have any filing requirements if it is in inactive status.
Okay.
But that does force you to actually file some documents with the IRS, the New Mexico Tax and Rev, and the Secretary of State's office, letting them know that it's in inactive status. And then you just can't start up business again. Then you have to inform those same agencies that you're now active again. But it is possible to keep them and not have to report, provided you've put it in inactive status.
I mean, this is not a do-it-yourself kind of thing.
Well, you're right about that. And to add another layer of complexity is the lawsuits that have been filed around the company challenging this law. There was a court in Alabama that did rule that this was unconstitutional, and it blocked the federal government from requiring this one business owner from filing. The problem is it was not a nationwide ban. So it only applies to that one company. Other companies or other people have challenged it, but nothing has filtered up yet enough for direction from any court of appeals to tell us one way or the other. So what we've been advising our clients is the ones that were existing before January 1st, 2024, let's hold off until the fall before making the decision, because hopefully we might get some direction from a court somewhere. But if you organize or create a company this year, go ahead and file to be safe so you don't incur any penalties.
Personally, I'm a little fearful. I'm not going to remember how many teeny tiny LLCs I started over the years that I still may have open. I guess how do I approach that other than, I guess, go through boxes of old papers? But what can I do, and where am I at risk for me and other, because I do have other business owners in the same thing. We set this up, we think we're going to use it, and then we forget about it.
One is, if you formed the LLC or corporation, you can search your name under the Secretary of State's office as an organizer or incorporator. And so that might be able to do it. Now, we organize a lot of clients. And so if you were to search your name, you may not be able to find it, because it's more likely our firm has the role of the organizer or incorporator for that business. But in that case, I would say it would fall upon the attorney or accounting firm who formed that company to let you know.
I'm wondering whether or not the intention of what this is supposed to do will be achieved, or is it just going to create more work for folks like you and me, another expenditure for a small business owner, and yet government's not going to get any more information than they currently have.
The biggest thing that worries me is the statute clearly says that if there's any changes, you have to update your filing. So if an owner leaves and is no longer an owner, you have to file with FINCEN. If you dissolve the LLC and you're already filed with the FINCEN, you have to update the filing. So it really becomes an enormous administrative burden to business, in my opinion. It's going to require a lot for them to remember. And quite honestly, it's going to fall to organizations like yours and mine to be on top of reminding clients, oh, we're dissolving this. We have this additional filing that needs to be done to inform them and help them get that done.
You're right. And this isn't just file and forget it one time thing. And I'm sure when a material event requires a reporting, it probably still has to be done in like 30 or 60 days, right? The government's not going to let you get till your tax filing deadline to notify them of a change in ownership. It has to happen within probably days, however many days of that change occurring now.
In my opinion, this is a huge net that's intended to catch a few small number of fish.